All right, kids, so the title today is X and Y intercepts. So can you do me a favor? On your notes that I gave to you already, can you please write this title above where it says day 3? So we're talking about X and Y intercepts today, and the best part is I have found an even easier way for us to graph an equation. So quick review. If I want you to graph an equation and I give it to you, first step, number 1, is to solve for Y. We've already done it. Second step is to make your XY chart, and how many points are you supposed to graph? 5. And have I given you the points? Yes. So that's all a review. I have found an easier way. You really only need 2 points. Notice that we've gone from 3 to 5 to now 2, but they must be the 2 exact points we're talking about today. They must be the x-intercept and the y. So here's what I want you to write. X-intercepts, this goes directly underneath where it says day 3. Okay, I need you to write the definition, very easy. X-intercepts, they are the x, okay, everybody's writing this, the x in the xy coordinate. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. X-intercept is the x of the coordinate where the graph crosses the x-axis. Hopefully you guys remember, and show me with your arms, even though it's a video. Which direction does the x-axis go? Okay, so the x-intercept is the x part when the graph touches the x-axis. So if you can take a look in your notes, okay, here's our graph. Where exactly does this line in blue touch the x-axis? I only care about the x-coordinate, so the x-coordinate is 3. All right? So we know our x-intercept is going to be 3. Same thing for the y, only now we're talking about the y-axis. So everybody in your notes, go ahead and write down y-intercept. Okay? The y-intercept is the y part of the xy coordinate where the graph crosses the y-axis. So with your arms, show me. What is the y-axis? Up and down. Okay, so we're going to take a look at our graph. Up and down. Where does the blue line cross the y-axis? Here's all that I care about. Y-intercept is the y part of the coordinate. And what is it? 6. Okay, so our x-intercept we identified was 3. That's the x part. And the y-intercept is 6. But it only works if you are on the x-axis or you are on the y. Okay? So hopefully you guys have had a chance to take these notes. If not, pause it, rewind it, and write this definition down. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in our blank. The x-intercept, we just talked about it, the x-coordinate, is the point where a line touches the x-axis and y is 0. Remember, if it is on the x-axis, y is 0. Let's remind ourselves. If we're on the x-axis, have we moved up any on the y? No. So what is y? 0. Okay? So one more time, x-intercept is the point where it touches the x and the y is 0. Remember, 0 is my favorite number. You're going to see why in a second. Let's go ahead and define our second blank. The y-intercept is the point where a line touches the y-axis. And what do you think x is going to be? Remember, if it is on the y-axis, have we moved any to the left or to the right? So what should x be? 0. Your x and your y-intercept will always be 0. Okay? If it's on the x-axis, your y is nothing. And if it's on the y-axis, your x is nothing. All right? So let's do a couple of examples. We're going to try it. It says, find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of this equation of a graph. Okay? So in your notes, everybody should have it. 2x plus 7y equals 28. Let's go ahead and start working. Step number 1, to find the x-intercept, I want x, substitute what? 0 for the y. All we're doing is we're plugging in a 0 wherever our y is, and then we're solving for x. Well, that makes sense because I want my x-intercept. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to recopy, except I'm substituting in 0 for y. So 2x, because I don't know x, plus 7 times 0, love it, 0 is my favorite, equals 28. Okay, what is 7 times 0? 0. Cancels. Awesome. We've made our life so easy. Now I have 2x equals 28. Can we easily solve for x? What do I have to do to cancel what's beside the x? Remember, it's multiplication. So if I want x by itself, what do I have to do? You're correct. Divide by 2, and whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. So now, x equals 28 divided by 2. Anybody? 14. So what is my x-intercept? 14. Okay, that is going to be the point where on the graph, y is 0. Y, I plugged in 0. Okay? To find the y-intercept, I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm replacing my x. I'm substituting 0 for x and solving for y. That's why it's called the y-intercept. I'm solving for y. So we're going to rewrite 2x. Uh-oh, I'm not even putting x, because what am I substituting for x? 0. So 2 times 0 plus 7y equals 28. Well, 2 times 0 is just 0. Okay, all I have now is 7y equals 28. Well, how do I calculate y by itself? I've got to cancel out the 7. This is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Divide. Divide by 7. Divide by 7. So now, y equals 28 divided by 7? 4. So what is my y-intercept? 4. How easy was that? By the way, there's an announcement.
Teachers, pardon the interruption. Fifth period teachers, I just want to remind you, please make sure that you are checking that students turn in their forms that were passed out last week. Again, this is the PEAMS forms. These are the forms with 5 questions on it.
Don't
and
forget.
They just need to be checked off by the parent, and these have to be turned back in. We're almost a week past the deadline. Again, apologize for the interruption, but fifth period teachers, please make sure that students are turning in these forms. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so graph the equation, x plus 2y equals 4. Okay, so reminder, we solve for y, we make an xy chart. Great, that's a lot of work. Do you want to make it easier on yourself? Yes, I do too. So we're going to just solve for our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Once you have 2 points, all you need is 2 points and you can draw your line. You're connecting the dots, okay? So let's start with our x-intercept. If we need a reminder, the x-intercept is where we are plugging in 0 for y and solving for x. So we're going to rewrite the equation, x plus 2, and what am I plugging in for y? 0 equals 4. Now all I have to do is solve for x to get my x-intercept. So here we go. 2 times 0 is 0. X equals 4. Did I get it? X equals 4. Love it. Okay, then I'm going to do my y-intercept. So I'm going to recopy, only this time I'm plugging in 0 for x and I'm solving for y. So here we go. 0 is my x plus 2y equals 4. Well, 0 is nothing. So 2y equals 4. How am I going to get y by itself? Excellent. Divide by 2. So if I divide the left side by 2, I divide the right side by 2. This cancels. Y equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. Have I found the x-intercept? Have I found the y-intercept? Great. So here's what's going to happen. When x is 4, we know that y was 0. Okay, so I'm going to come over to my graph. I know that x is 4, boop, 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 and y is 0. Put your point. Okay, and then I would like for you to write your coordinate. Because we know our x, it's 4. And if it's an x-intercept, the y is 0. 4, 0. Did I plot it right? I hope so. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing for our y-intercept. When y equals 2, what is x? 0. So we're going to put our point 0, comma 2, because this is my y. Okay, so now I'm going to come over to my graph and I'm going to plot 0 for the x. I'm not moving anywhere on the x-axis. It is 0. And I'm going to go up, because it's positive, up 2. Okay, at this point, when I have 2 dots, can I go ahead and connect them? Sure. Do I now have a linear function? Yes, it is linear. And is it a function? Sure. If I draw a vertical line, it crosses it 1 time. Any questions? Hopefully not. We're going to keep practicing. Okay? We can also find the intercepts by looking at equations that are already graphed. Notice that I've given you guys the blue line. So now can we easily find the x-intercept? Well, let's remind ourselves. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. That means y is 0. Okay, and the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So what does x have to be? X must be 0. So let's take a look. Where are we at on our line if we're at y is 0? We're only on the x-axis. And where does it cross the x-axis? At x equals 2. Okay, so my x-intercept equals 2. And we can write it in a coordinate point. This is my x value, so it goes first. 2 and y is 0. We're on the line. Okay, let's do the same thing for our y-intercept. We remind ourselves that x is 0, so I have not moved anywhere at all on the x-axis. I am looking for the point where it crosses the y. So if I come down, where does it cross the y? If this is 0, this must be negative 1. So I'm going to write y-intercept equals negative 1. But if I wanted to put it in a coordinate point, what was x if I'm on the y-axis? I haven't moved anywhere on the x. So x is 0. And where am I at on the y? Negative 1. Okay? So we've now figured out that we can find our x and y-intercept from an equation. Okay? I just substituted 0 for each one. Or I can locate the x and y-intercept from a graph. You just need to find the point where it crosses the x and the point where it crosses the y. Hopefully that's pretty simple. Okay? Here's a word problem because you love them. I know. I am planning an awards banquet because I love to throw parties. Okay? I need to rent tables that are going to seat 180 peeps. Okay? Tables come in 2 sizes. I have small tables, and these only seat 4 people. Or I have large tables, and they're going to seat 6. This is modeled by this equation. 4x plus 6y equals 180. And I've told you guys, x is the small tables. Remember, small, seat 4. And y are the large tables. Y, seat 6. So if I total them together, they must seat how many people? 180. I've given it to you. Okay, all we're going to do now is find our intercepts and graph it. So let's take a look. The intercepts, there are 2 of them, an x and a y. So for my x-intercept, I have to plug 0 in for y to find x. So let's do that. 4x plus 6 times what? 0. Remember, I need x, so y is 0, equals 180. Okay, so 6 times 0, nothing. 4x equals 180. How do I get x by itself? Divide by 4, divide by 4. 180 divided by 4, you may use a calculator. So now x equals 180 divided by 4, 60. Okay, so when x is 60, y should be 0. Then we're going to do our y-intercept. The very same thing, only now we're plugging 0 for what letter? 0 for x, because I'm solving for y. I need my y-intercept. So, I'm going to write 4 times 0, I'm getting rid of my x, plus 6y equals 180. Okay, 4 times 0, those cancel. 6y equals 180, how do I get y by itself? Divide by 6, divide by 6, these cancel. Y equals 180 divided by 6, or y-intercept is 30. Okay? So now that I know it, my x-intercept means my x is 60 and my y is 0. And then my y-intercept, my x is 0 and my y is 30. So let's graph it. All of our lines are going by 5s. So we need on our x-axis, when the y is 0, x must be 60. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 60. When x is 60, y is 0. Okay, that's my first point. And then I need to plot my second one. When x is 0, I haven't moved, y is 30. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Do I have 2 points? Can I connect the dots? Linear function? Awesome. Okay, then it asks, what are 4 possibilities? That means whatever you pick for x, you're going to plug it in and solve for y. So what if I said, maybe we can have just one small table, all right? So 4 times 1 plus 6y equals 180. 4 times 1 is just 4, plus 6y equals 180. Okay, can I get my 4 to the other side? Yes, because I want y by itself. So what's the opposite of 4? Minus 4. And whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. So then I'm left with 6y equals 176. You may use your calculator, and you will calculate y equals, I don't really know. You can figure it out. That's one possibility. Okay, I want 4. So you need to make sure that you substitute in any other number that you want. Pick whatever you want for x, you will get your y. So then you're going to put coordinate points. You could say that when x was 1, y should be 176 divided by 6. Put that here, that's one possibility. If you wanted x is 2, sure. Plug it in, write it down. If you want x is 3, sure. Plug it in, write it down. You will show this to me when you come to class on Friday. Okay guys, hopefully you have no questions about x and y intercept. If you do, please take the time to write this on your notes. We will go over it together. Any questions at all, write it on your notes. Otherwise, go back and rewind, review, because we're going to do homework in class on Friday. Thank you.